What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today we are going to be reviewing Monoxide's Chainsmoker 2 Remixes. Wasn't really sure if I was going to do this review or not, but I figured since I have it, might as well just to kind of put it out there if it's worth getting for anyone who might be on the fence. I'm somebody who in the past has been very vocal about not being a fan of remixes, and honestly, in the last 6 months or so, my perception of it has changed just a little bit. And honestly, low-key is to really blame for that, or thank for that, depending on how you want to look at it. He released a remix album of his 2009 project, Chameleatic. He's also done alternate versions of Book of Time. He's got a whole second album, To the Eyes of Parasuva, where it's like the same vocals, but different musical instrumentation. That really kind of opened my mind because the way that he did those remix albums, I felt was very well done. So when Monoxide had announced Chainsmoker 2 Remixes, I honestly approached it very open-minded and had the thought of like, yeah, I'll check it out. Obviously, I had to pick up the USB to get it. Getting the USB was a way for me to get the main album physically. It just happened to include the remix albums as well. I'm not going to fully go into all of this. Megs actually did a video on it, so I will just link that in the description. She took it out, hooked it up, showed the light lit up and everything. I just brought it here for the sake of that. I'm going to stick it back over here in its little home on the shelf, and that is going to be just that. The actual USB comes with the main album, the deluxe version of it, the standard version of it, and the remix album. So, in my honest opinion, if you are wanting to get the remix album, that's the route that I would go. I would honestly get the USB drive because of everything that it comes with, including the remixes. I'm somebody who I'm going to say, and this kind of goes as somebody who's not a fan of remixes, but also as somebody who thinks that this album really wasn't quite worth it to me. That being said, something that they did on this remix album that was rather disappointing for me, the vocals, and I haven't listened to it a ton. I've listened to it maybe 2 or 3 times. The remixes weren't bad. The beats were pretty decent, and I think there was 1 or 2 of them that I actually preferred more of than the original one, or I enjoyed just as much as, rather, I should say. But one of the things that I wish they would have done a little bit differently on this is to redone some of the vocals. Again, this is a bar that Loke had set when he did the Chameleatic remixes. He really set that bar even higher when he did the alternate version of the Book of Time. And then, of course, when he did the Unchained mixes of the Eyes of Parasuva. I think he understood that to really make those songs different from the original, he had to go in and really tweak stuff. And it's something that I think was amazingly done. And with this project here, with the Chainsmoker remixes, that wasn't really the case. You have exactly the same vocals. And I did a comparison. I played the music on the iPad and I played the music on my phone, and I listened to the vocals really closely. They're the same tempo. They're exactly the same rhyme, everything. Like they just took the vocals from the track and slapped it on a new beat, which, if you're somebody who enjoys remixes, is fine. I'm somebody who I will typically gravitate more towards which beat I like better. And typically for me, I've listened to the original version so much that that's just my preferred way to listen to it. There have been occasions that remixes have blown me away, and I was like, absolutely love it way more than the original. Mainly on the Mutant remix, there was a couple on there. Fucking Respirator. I feel like that remix blows the original out of the water. So then it's happened before, but it's very rare. So going into this album, I was like, okay, I'm going to give that open mind, and it was literally just the same vocals slapped over new beats, which, again, some of them were not bad in comparison to the originals, but some of them just were not as good. So going into this, I don't really have a favorites. This is just kind of me giving my thoughts and opinions on it. This is as somebody who's not a fan of remixes. So if you're somebody who does not care for remixes, you're not a huge fan of remixes, this is definitely something to pass up. And again, if you are going to get it just for the sake of having it, I honestly would lean towards the USB. The album itself, if you get the CD, is $12.99. The standard version of the album is $14.99. So you're paying $2 less for remixes, and you're only getting half of the songs. They didn't even remix the full album. If they would have remixed the full album, that to me would be like, okay, the CD would be more worth it. But I don't feel like the CD is worth it at all. You only get 7 of the tracks remixed. It's the Fuck Around and Find Out remix, Blown Away, Not Normal, Bad Medicine, BMA, Night They All Died, and Lights Out. So, again, like half of the album. I think the original album was 13 tracks. So, all in all, it was a fun little listen. It was different, but it's not something that if you're not a fan of remixes, I would really even suggest going out and trying to find. I don't think this is ever going to be on streaming, so I mean, if you're really super excited and curious to check it out, I think it might be on YouTube. That's probably something I should have looked up, but I didn't. But yeah, I went into this just open-minded, wanted to check it out, and I decided to go ahead and drop my review for people who may be curious what I thought of it, you know, things like that. I've had the opportunity to listen to I Heart 31, the HOK remix album that they just put out, and really the same sentiment came out of that. There was a couple of tracks same way that it's like I kind of like the remix almost as much as the original, but the originals was just so good. It's all ROC production, so I mean, if you're gonna go, I'm getting off topic on a tangent. So again, if you're going to get Chainsmoker 2, I would say get the USB. That way you get the original album and the standard. Really going into this too, my first listen, I left it with a little bit of a disappointment because my thought with this was, because there's a couple of the tracks here like Not Normal, BMA, and Night They All Died. And I honestly don't even remember listening to the BMA remix if it had Gmo and it had Madrox. And so I might just kind of pull this up real quick. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, listening to that there, you can hear it's all Monoxide. So they basically took that version of BMA from the standard edition of the CD. And what I would have liked to see them do for this is all of the tracks, especially that were on the deluxe, give us the standard version on this CD, but remixed. That to me would have given the remix more beef. A lot more beef. Again, I think the Not Normal... Yeah, the Not Normal does have Madrox on it. So, again, going into this, I think what they should have done is they should have taken the standard version of the CD and remixed that. And what I mean by that is not have any guest vocals on it, have it all be Monoxide. So we are getting the standard version with some girth. That to me, I think would have made this a lot better. And I think, again, going in and just changing up some of the vocals, maybe have him rap it a little bit different, or maybe make it fit the beat just a little differently and make it unique. To me, that's the best way a remix can make itself stand out, is to make itself unique enough from the original. But if it's the same vocals just over a new beat, that's not unique enough for me. And to me, it makes me just want to go listen to the original version way more. But wanted to come on here and drop my review for that for anybody who was curious about what I thought about the remixes, being somebody that's not a fan of remixes, and maybe there wasn't a lot that did, but also just to kind of put that out there for others who may have been on the fence thinking about it. And if you're not a fan of remixes, this is definitely something, unless you're a collector and you want to have a complete collection, this is definitely a skippable project for sure. And I'll just go ahead and say it here and now, I Heart 31 is the exact same case. I wouldn't even bother picking that album up either if I was you. Granted, that one comes with 2 unreleased tracks, and they are actually pretty fucking dope. But it is my assumption that down the road, they'll probably repackage those 2 songs into another format, and you'll get it at some point, whether it be in a compilation, maybe even a deluxe version of 31 a year after it comes out. That would be pretty sweet. You know, slap Dead Street on there, which was the Fright Fest single that was given away at the House of Crazy show. That to me would be the ultimate way that I could see them repackaging it. Doubtful, maybe, who knows. But yeah, Chainsmoker 2 remixes, really not an essential album to get unless you are a fan of remixes. Then sure, it gives you a different enough of an album to listen to, but it's not even the full album. It's just like half of the album. So if you have listened to it, you like it, tell me down below what you liked about it. If you listened to it and you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like about it down below. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.